Once upon a time in Ama Kingdom, Ama village was known for peace and kindness. The men in the land are very hardworking, while the women support their husbands and take care of the children. Mr. Ejike was not different. He loved his wife and daughter so dearly and provide for his family. But tragedy struck and he was killed by a wild animal in the bush on his way back from hunting. The wife and daughter were really pained by the death of her husband. Olah, her daughter, was very beautiful and the beauty of Ama Kingdom. Her mother, Ugochi, had to work really hard to provide for her only child and daughter. Ugochi faced so many challenges from her brother-in-laws and other village men who wanted to take advantage of her, all in the name of helping her. She refused and kept working hard in her husband's farm. Olah was doing well in her school. She promised her late father to make him proud and her mother proud. Amadi is a very handsome and brilliant boy. In the same school Olah attended. He's every girl's dream because of his intelligence, but was determined like Olah, who is on a journey to make her parents proud and happy. One day after school, on his way home, he heard a very beautiful voice singing in a nearby bush. He wanted to go, but on a second thought, decided to know where the beautiful voice was coming from. Meanwhile, Olah was the one singing under the Udala tree. Amadi said, "You have a beautiful voice." Olah refused to respond. Instead, he wiped her tears and stood up to pack her bag. Amadi thought on how to make her talk. Then Amadi screamed, "Snake, snake, snake is on this tree." Olah ran hurriedly to Amadi for safety, only for him to burst into a provocative laugh, saying, "I just did that to make you talk." Olah angrily called him a joy killer. Amadi introduced himself to Olah. Olah did so too. Amadi and Olah became close friends till graduation day. He asked Olah to marry him. He said, "Olah, I love you so much. I don't want to lose you. Please, will you marry me? Not immediately, but I want to know you are mine and mine alone." Olah was happy and she joyfully said yes. The bond kept growing while Amadi prepared for higher institution. Olah's mother had been sick, which made Olah sad. One evening, he called her to bless and pray for her. After the prayer, she advised her daughter to be a good girl and never sell her body for money. After the prayer, she asked her to make soup for her to eat and take her medication. Olah was very happy that her mother is recovering. She made the soup so delicious. After serving the food, she went to call her mother, only to meet her mother cold in the bed, with her eyes closed. Her scream attracted the villagers. She cried bitterly, but tears cannot bring her mother back from the dead. Amadi was with her till after the burial. Whenever she wakes up, the house will be empty. She will cry again and again till she becomes tired of crying. She misses her mother and her father. One day she was tired of the trauma and the house. She ran away to the city. She had no family or friends. She was just sad and traumatized. None of her uncles or aunts ever checked on her. She was abandoned to cater for herself alone. The first day, she slept in front of a shop before daybreak. She would go out to beg, feed herself. One day, on her way coming to sleep at the shop, she met with some bad boys who wanted to rape her. She ran so fast, escaped from them. When she got to the shop, she was afraid to sleep. But nature took over her only for her to wake up when a hand taped her. Mrs. Queen is a very kind woman with a family of 4, but her children are all grown. Just coming to the shop to keep herself busy because her husband and children are covered financially. Olah was afraid. Madam Queen was very calm with her. For further water, she asked her why she spent the night in her shop. Olah shared her story with Madam Queen, who felt her pain and decided to help her. Olah was very helpful and domestical at home and in the market. As well, Madam Queen loved her so much. Her husband was not comfortable with living with a stranger at first, but seeing her work hard, he accepted her as his own daughter. Meanwhile, Amadi was heartbroken because of the disappearance of Olah. After all his search for her proved abortive, he left the village for his education, but he never stopped loving and praying to find the love of his life one day. After 1 year of working with Madam Queen, she asked her about her education. She said she stopped at SS2. Madam Queen enrolled her in a lesson where she registered for WAEC. After the exam, she enrolled for JAMB, cleared all her papers and got admission to study nursing in one of the best universities in the city. Madam Queen never failed to care and provide for her. Holiday, she came home, helped Madam Queen in business which made Madam Queen love her more. Ola do have nightmares about her family. She will always fall sick after nightmare. She feel guilty for leaving Amadi with no explanation. Wished to see him one day to explain everything to him. Ola graduated with flying colours. She got a job in the best hospital and her salary was really interesting. She submitted her first salary to her new parents who blessed and prayed for her. Many suitors were coming for her hand in marriage, but she still loved Amadi. Madam Queen already advised her to pick one of the suitors. She had a new friend whose name was Precious, who is from a godly home and always invited Ola for fellowship and program, but never judged her. Ola decided to attend the new program Precious invited her to. The program was fireful. After the program, she met Precious to lead her to Christ, which she did happily. Always spend time with God, help her forgive herself and also discover she is in Christ. He gave her life to Christ while on campus. After graduation, he got a job in one of the best companies in the city. After 4 years, he decided to go for his master's degree, which her master's degree is because her desire a promotion in the office. Ola was going for her master's degree, which Madam gave her unwavering support. After lectures one afternoon, everywhere was hot. Was hot. Her way to the canteen, a familiar voice called her name. Ola. Turned only to find the love of her life standing in front of her. She was afraid and happy at the same time. Their eyes met, and for a moment time seemed to stand still. Then, without a word, Amadi closed the distance between them, his steps hesitant yet determined. Ola's heart hammed in her chest as she stopped in front of her, gaze searching her for answers she wasn't sure she could give. Ola softly said, voice tinged with emotion, I never thought I would see you again. She swallowed hard, trying to compose herself as 1,000 apologies rushed to her lips. I am sorry, Amadi, I should have. But he held up a hand, stopping her words before they could play out. No, Ola, it's okay, I understand. Tears welled in her eyes as she reached out to touch his face, tracing the familiar lines and contours she had once known so well. I never stopped loving you, she whispered, her voice barely more than a breath. Eyes softened, filled with depth of emotion that mirrored her own. I never stopped loving you either, he admitted, his voice thick with unshed tears. In that moment, surrounded by the gentle laps of the waves and the fading light of the sunset, they knew that they had given a second chance at love. The following day, Ola and Amadi spent every moment they could together, rediscovering the bond that they had once drawn them together. They walked along the beach hand in hand, sharing stories of the years they had spent apart and dreams of the future they hoped to build together. Even as they reveled in the joy of their reunion, the shadow of the past lingered, casting a pall over their new-found happiness. Ola knew that she couldn't keep running from the truth, that she had to confront the secret she had buried deep within her heart. Evening, as they sat on the porch swing of Amadi's house, she finally found the courage to speak the word she had been dreading. Amadi, there is something I need to tell you, she began, her voice trembling with emotion. She turned to her, concern in his features. What is it, Ola? You can tell me anything. A deep breath. She plucked her head, her words trembling out in a rush. She told him about the illness that has taken her mother's life, about the grief and guilt that has consumed her in the aftermath. She told him about the fear that had driven her to leave Amma behind, to escape the memories that haunt her every waking moment. As she spoke, she watched as Amadi's expression shift from surprise to understanding, eyes filled with a compassion that took her breath away. Ola, you don't have to carry that burden alone, he said softly, reaching out to take her hand in his. We can face whatever comes after together as a team. Tears pricked at the corner of her eyes as she nodded, feeling the weight of years of guilt and regret begin to lift from her shoulder. In that moment she knew that she had not only a second chance at love but also a partner who would stand by her side through thick and thin. They sat together in the fading light of the evening, watching as the stars began to twinkle overhead. Ola felt a sense of peace settled over her heart. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to feel loved. After some months of friendship, Amadi proposed again. Ola accepted. She introduced him to her new parents. The marriage date was fixed and she has to travel to village with her friend Precious. She forgave her uncles and the marriage was successful. The white wedding took place in the city with her bestie as her maid of honor. Them with three beautiful children, a girl and two boys. They live happily ever after.